Hey everybody, welcome to Locked On Brewers. Knocked me over with a feather. The Brewers have won a game. It wasn't until a week ago Saturday night the Brewers last won a game, but they got in the win column. As Bull Ryan once said, it's better to be on the left-hand side of the ledger than the right-hand side. We'll get into it, wrap up the road trip, and look ahead to a huge series with the Dodgers coming up at AmFam Field. It is great to be home. We'll be talking about that next.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So much more fun when the Brewers win. That was brutal last week. Talking about different ways the Brewers are finding ways to lose, throwing back a terrific 15-6 start. But now here they are, 19-15. And after a 7-3 win over the San Francisco Giants, they lost the first 5 games of that road trip, one on Sunday. They left town, get this, they left town a game and a half out of first place and come back a half a game out of first place. They went on a West Coast road trip, won one game, and they improved themselves by a one game in the standings. Now, we could be happy about that, or we could be just tearing ourselves to pieces because the Brewers missed out on a golden opportunity to take control of this division early in the year. I don't know how I feel about it either way, but they are 19-15, and it was great to finally see them get a win on Sunday afternoon. And who would have guessed Adrian Houser would be the answer, along with Willie Adames and the bullpen too. We'll talk about that coming up next. My name is Chuck Freeman. Good to have you along on Locked On Brewers. If this is your first time, thank you. If you're an everydayer, you watch us, you listen to us every day, thank you. As always, I love the loyal people out there, and you know who you are. I hear from you on Twitter. I see post stuff and all that, and it's great always hearing from you. Chuck Freeman, the name on Twitter, Chuck FREIMUND. Find us on your favorite place to find podcasts, whether it's Google, whether it's Spotify. You might go to Apple. I list them all on my Twitter site after the show. I post them all and let you know when we drop the episode. Locked On Brewers also found on YouTube. Go to Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, and then you see that little bell over there. Hit that. That's going to alert you every time we drop an episode. I work for WIBA Radio in Madison. I'm the morning sports anchor. Also been the AP reporter for the last 40 years, over 40 years, covering the Milwaukee Brewers. But like you, they are my favorite professional team in Wisconsin. My favorite professional. Well, I mean, I only like the teams from Wisconsin. I don't like the other. Some people like other teams from other cities and other states and all that. Not me. Brewers, Bucks, Packers, and of course the Badgers in college. But the Brewers are my favorite professional sports team, and I love covering them, and I love watching them, and I love rooting for them. I've been going for the games all my life, and we are here every day doing Locked On Brewers, wrapping it up and looking ahead to the next day's game and all that, and giving you commentary. I've been doing sports talk in Milwaukee forever, and I love it. I love the city of Milwaukee, and I love the sports teams, and I want us to break out of this funk more than anybody. And finally, it was killing me, but they snapped the 6-game skid. They did not need to lose on Sunday. And thanks to Willie Adames, 4 RBIs, 2-run home run, William Contreras, 2-run home run, and who would have guessed? Adrian Houser. Thank God Adrian is back in this rotation. I really think Adrian should be pitching out of the bullpen. But for now, with injuries in this rotation, they need him there. They need him in that rotation. And he gave him 4 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs in his season debut. That was great. Help tame the Giants and end this skid and end up on a 1-5 road trip. Adrian Houser, thank you. And that bullpen was fantastic. After Houser gave away Piamps, Strzelecki, Devin Williams. You almost forget that Devin Williams is on this team. Let's check. I think it was April 29th was the last time. Yes, April 29th. He was the last pitch. He pitched an inning in a non-save situation. I feel like there's not been a lot of moments that, well, I mean, it is early in the year, but I mean, a few weeks ago, he was in some tight spots, but he's been pitching great. 0.87 earned run average. Hobie Milner also pitched. He relieved Hauser, went 2/3 of it and gave up 2 hits. I don't know what's going on with Hobie these days, but Hobie has not been pitching like the Hobie Milner we saw last year. But got to have him turn it around, because this team, you need everybody on this team to carry his weight. With the Milwaukee Brewers, as we all know, there was never a margin for error. Never. Not even on those 2018 teams. Certain teams, there's a margin for error, but with the way the horrible baseball situation is set up financially, teams like the Milwaukee Brewers, no margin for error. So we need Christian Yelich to turn it around. No margin for error for signing guys to extensions. No margin of error for anybody not pulling their weight on this team. But Adrian Hauser came in and was great. 4 2/3, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. And then Payamps got 5 outs in there. I thought Payamps was just terrific. Strzelecki, who had struggled, came in there, got back on track a little bit. And Devin Williams. Good to see you again, Devin. Good to have you back on this team. You're the one guy I can't complain about this year because you've been great. Just haven't had a chance to use you too much these days because of some bad outings and some blowouts and some blown opportunities middle of the game. But it is good to have you back. Hopefully, well, I hate to say, hopefully we'll get to use you in the Dodgers series, but you'd like to see the Brewers, really take care of the things where they wouldn't have to get the Williams. But, when called upon, Devin is going to rise to the occasion. April 29th, the last time he pitched. Unbelievable. So the Brewers have the Dodgers coming up here next. When the Brewers left town, they were 18-10. They came back 19-15. And the first week of May, the NL Central was so bad that the combined record in the first week of May of teams in the NL Central was 7-23. Oh my God. Now we knew this isn't exactly the American League East of the 70s, but man, this bad? Is it going to be this bad all season? But thank God it is, because the Brewers would have buried themselves. The St. Louis Cardinals, who finally won, would have buried themselves. But with the way everybody's playing, even the Cardinals at 11-24 are only 9 games out, and they could make that up just like that. You know how the Cardinals are. So, but the bottom line is the Brewers are 8.5 games ahead of the Cardinals. That's what I look at. Not that they were half a game behind the Pirates, or just ahead of Cincinnati or the Cubs, those bad teams, but they're 8.5 ahead of the Cardinals, who had to come from behind. They got up early, blew the lead, and then rallied like a 7-run inning and ended up winning. But the car has been bad for them. That's great. It's kind of made me feel a little bit better about our team when I see the Cardinals in last place. But I don't think they're going to stay there for long. But we'll kind of come back and talk about who did what today. We're going to look at the NL Central. How about the honor that was given to Lorenzo Cain in Kansas City? Well-deserved. I'm glad they loved him there because he did great things in Kansas City. We'll talk about his time in Milwaukee, too, coming up next. And we'll get into the series with the Dodgers, pitching matchups, and a few other things as well. Locked On Brewers continues after we tell you about eBay Motors. eBay Motors is a terrific place. If you're looking for parts and all that, let me get this up here. eBay Motors is fantastic. eBay Motors will help you out, and eBay is a place I go anyway, but I'm just learning the last month or so about how good eBay Motors is. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit. You can make sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Add your ride to My Garage. Look for the green check to know that part will fit just right, or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. And when you shop eBay Motors, you have confidence. Over 122 million parts to choose from. That's amazing. You'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com, ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay's guaranteed fit, only available U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. Appreciate all you eBay users out there and going to eBay Motors. And I hear from you all the time and appreciate you all sponsoring and patronizing our sponsors here on the Locked On Network, on Locked On Brewers, part of that network. We are your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers the number one Brewers podcast on the internet. And the Brewers will play the Dodgers coming up 6:40 tonight at AmFan Field. Catch every pitch. A Brewers hometown broadcast, Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search Brewers and Dodgers in the first to three at 6:40 on Sirius XM. All right. Oh, my phone went off. Of course, I had all day to shut that off, and I didn't do it. But let's get the box score of today's game. I'm going to take a quick drink of my Mountain Dew here. Oh, there we go. Shouldn't be drinking that really late at night, but man, my throat's been getting dry lately. Christian Yelich led off for the Brewers, went 2 for 5, rose that batting average to 240. Jesse Winker went 1 for 4. Willie Adames starting to show signs of breaking out of that slump, had one of his best days. 4 runs batted in, 2 for 3, I should say, a run scored and a home run. Rowdy Tellez went 1 for 4. William Contreras. William just continues to, he's another guy who can't really complain about in this team. William went 3 for 5, 2-run homer. Brian Anderson went 1 for 4. Bryce Terang 1 for 3. Tyrone Taylor 1 for 4. And Joey Weimer 0 for 3. I feel like Joey Weimer goes 0 for 3, 0 for 4 every day, yet his average still stays at 208. Do they not calculate his average every day? Because I feel like every day I'm reading Joey Weimer 0 for 3, 0 for 4, batting average 208, batting average 207, batting average 208. I don't know. Is he getting some mulligans out there on the batting average? Adrian Hauser started, went 4 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, much needed, 5 strikeouts for Adrian. Got a no decision. Hobie Milner relieved him because you got to go the 5 innings. Miller went 2/3, gave up 2 hits. Piamps gets the win, 1 2/3, recorded 5 outs, 1 hit, 3 Ks. I'm starting to love Piamps. I don't believe in jinxes, but I love Piamps. I'm loving the way what he's doing to this team. Peter Strzelecki, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts in an inning. It's a win for Strzelecki, who's not been, that Thursday performance against Colorado was pitiful. And then the great Devin Williams, he gave a 1 hit, 1 run in an inning. I believe it's his first run he gave up, or run he's given up all this year, but he's been rusting in the bullpen since April 29th. Good to see that he's still on this team. And the Brewers win 7-3 over the Dodgers. Over the Giants. Dodgers coming in. The Giants' big rival, the Dodgers coming in after winning on Sunday Night Baseball. Mookie Wilson, it's a 2-out home run in the top of the 10th inning to tie it. And then 3 more runs later, and they win it in the 10th inning. So they win it in the top of the 9th. And in the 10th, the Dodgers come home with a win. Now, the Dodgers, a night game in Los Angeles or in San Diego. The game was in San Diego, I believe. A night game in San Diego. And now they have to travel all the way across. Yeah, it was in San Diego. Now they got to travel all the way across the country and play Milwaukee tomorrow night. So they're going to get into Milwaukee probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because usually that final game before you go on a road trip is usually a day game. I don't know if people know that, and how do you do, but you usually play a day game. It's called Getaway Day, because then you have time to fly to the next city and settle in, and then you wake up and play the game the next day or the next night. But in this case, the Dodgers will be getting in to downtown Milwaukee probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. They'll get back late. You don't usually see a team play a night game before another night game in a city all the way across the country. I mean, you're going from San Diego all the way to Milwaukee. So anyway, Dodgers coming in for a first of a 3-game set. Tony Gonsolin is on the mound. He went 16-1 last year. He had all-star for a first time. Just a great year. He is going to be on the hill. And of course, the Brewers just struggle sometimes against left-handed pitchers. And they're going to see a left-hander on Wednesday with Clayton Kershaw. Gonsolin against Freddie Peralta. Peralta gave 2 home runs in his last start. He's got 4 quality starts of the year. Peralta does. So he'll get the ball on Monday. Noah Syndergaard pitches on Tuesday against Eric Lauer. And then Clayton Kershaw, the lefty, against Wade Miley, the lefty for the Milwaukee Brewers, in an afternoon game on getaway day at AmFam Field. The Dodgers have been scoring runs. They hit home runs. Their batting average isn't great. I think their team batting average is like 238. But they're one of the best teams in the league at hitting a home run. Max Muncy's got 12. Of course, Mookie at the top of the order. He's fantastic. He hasn't had the last couple of years hasn't been real good, but Mookie is still one of the best threats in baseball. No doubt about it. So they come in, and the Dodgers, obviously, even though they're not off to the best start this year by their standards, they're going to be a load because they got a better bullpen than the Brewers, and they got a better starting lineup than the Brewers. We'll break that down a little further. How about the honor for Lorenzo Cain on Saturday in Kansas City? That was great to see because he's beloved in Kansas City, and he came to Milwaukee 2018, signed that big contract. Big part, because if they don't sign Lorenzo Cain, the Brewers don't win the National League Central Division and go on to the NLCS to face the Dodgers. It's a big part of it. Now, gradually over the years, the numbers went down. Okay, but Lorenzo Cain was an important leader and part of that team. You didn't want to sign him for the 5 years, but you had to. You knew at the end of that contract, he was getting in his mid-30s, and that was going to be, you'd be holding your breath on it. And they released him at the end of it, toward the end, of course, but still, he fulfilled a great purpose on this team, bringing leadership, top of the order, stealing bases, defensively, A+ out there. Not today, Cubs. Taking a home run ball away. Or was it the Cardinals? God, I can't remember now. But reaching up and making that play. How about that? But he helped lead the Royals to the pennant in 14 and 15. And MVP candidate, I think in 2015, he was third in the MVP voting. He was the ALCS MVP in 2014. So, yeah, when you talk about Royals who made an impact, and the Royals were so bad for so many years, just so bad, okay? But he was one of the guys, including the manager, Ned Yost, who helped lead them out of darkness and, into the World Series and winning a championship. So Lorenzo Cain, great to see him honored by Kansas City, that they still loved him. And when he hit a home run there, when he came back to play as a member of the Brewers, the fans went nuts as he rounded the bases. And that was fantastic. And Lorenzo Cain signed a 1-day contract with the Royals. And, Brewer fan, don't feel bad that he's getting all those accolades from the Kansas City Royals, because that's where Lorenzo Cain was the man. Not that he wasn't here, but he was in the heart of greatness there in Kansas City. So he signed the 1-day contract. They gave him a huge packed house Saturday for Lorenzo Cain. That just tells you what an impact he's made in Kansas City. And you think of the legends over the years. And of course, the greatest legend in Royals history is George Brett. But Lorenzo Cain, I'm not saying that Lorenzo Cain's in that category, because George Brett is the first ballot Hall of Famer. But Lorenzo Cain, heroes in Kansas City. Lorenzo Cain definitely part of that. Welcome to Locked On Brewers. I'm Chuck Freeman. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen every day. We'll be back here coming up on Monday night, wrapping up the first game of that series with the Dodgers. It'll be a first of a 3-game set. We'll be wrapping up a couple hours after the game. We'll be dropping episodes both on YouTube and on the audio versions on Google, on the Apple, on the Spotify podcast sites. So tune in for that tomorrow night. And the Brewers do play the Dodgers at 6:40 coming up on Monday night. Catch every pitch of Brewers hometown broadcast, Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search Brewers. All right, we're telling you about this Dodger team. This Dodger team is going to be tough for the Brewers. Yeah, the Dodgers have got a better bullpen and better lineup than the Brewers. Okay, and don't think anybody's not disrespecting the Brewers out there, but that's just how good that team is. And the Dodgers are going to come in here, legitimate threat with Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, their pitching staff. Kershaw, the left-hander on Wednesday. Gonsolin's not going to be easy on Monday night. And, Freddie Freeman. A doubles machine for Freddie. Freddie's like good for a couple of doubles in a series, I believe. Freddie is that good. So that'll be a first of a 3-game set coming up on Monday night. All right. Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers. We drop every day here on Locked On Brewers, usually a couple of hours after the day, and we appreciate you always coming on. And, of course, we'll be taking your tweets after the games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Freddie Peralta is going to make the start tomorrow night. His ERA versus LA in 3 starts, a sparkling 1.93 earned run average. Really good. But the Brewers need to get back on a little bit of a roll here. All right. I like to think that as bad as I was down on them after each and every game, and I was losing my mind Friday and Saturday night, and Thursday when they blew the 4-0 lead, but let's come out and take 2 or 3 against a team that's better than you. Yeah, the Dodgers are a better team. Let's come out and take 2 or 3, all right, and then roll it into Kansas City. Now, the Royals are coming to town, and the Royals, on paper, not really a great team, but capable of getting the job done. And the Brewers, as you know, can't take a back seat to anybody these days. Not at all. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The Dodgers are certain teams that come to town, they get the juices flowing a little bit. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, obviously, but we see them 100 times a year. We're not going to see them that much this year because of the more balanced schedule. But, we'll see good attendance out there, I'm sure. I would guess at least over 20,000 for all 3 of those games. I'd be surprised if it was under 20,000. But the way the Brewers, if they came back with a winning road trip, for sure. But hey, any attendance at all at AmFam Field is a bonus because Brewer fans, as I mentioned time and time again, you are the best for just hanging in there with this team. And, this was a tough road trip. They went 1-5 on this road trip, and they were very bad at times. They blew leads. They had the bullpen blow leads. They had the offense dry up a few times. And a couple of times when the offense did rise to the occasion, the pitching let them down. But let's put it all in gear and get back at it Monday night against the Dodgers. It's going to do it. Again, we'll be back here Monday after the game, about 2 hours after the game, dropping an episode, and we'll be here throughout the week. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are free and available on all platforms. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. The Brewers and Dodgers, of course, on Sirius XM, 640 with that first pitch coming up on Monday. It's 640 Monday, 640 Tuesday, and I believe 1240 on Wednesday with the afternoon game. And then they have Thursday off. So they got a couple of, and I love the early starts. Yeah, 1240 on Wednesday. Back in the old County Stadium days, weekday night games started at 7:30. Can you believe that? Then they went to 7:05. And now they're 6:40. I think that's great. Summertime, they switch back to 7 o'clock, but 6:40 for a weeknight game, I'd be great if it was 6 o'clock, but I know people are getting off of work and all that, but 6:40, I think, is a perfect time. Works for a lot of different people out there. And the way the rules are these days with baseball, probably be out of the ballpark by 9 o'clock. All right, that's going to do it. I'm Chuck Freeman. Thanks for joining us. Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good night, everybody.